I promise, we'll get back to fun stuff again soon. But there's one more bit of introspection I'd like to get off my chest. Something that I realize I've been doing, or been doing worse than I thought, that I feel sorry about. And I have to partially credit two negative comments on the previous video, made by people who I believe were jumping to uncharitable conclusions, but there was still a kernel of truth. And both were related to me complaining about numbers. One said that I'm one of the YouTubers who gripe the most about YouTube. And at first I thought, oh, come on, there are people who complain way more. And I've never made a video with a title like, my channel is dying, or YouTube is killing my channel, or anything like that. But then it kept kind of stewing in the back of my mind. And I kept thinking about every instance where I did complain about numbers and such. And the other comment also related to that. And while I don't usually make such gripes a central focus of a video, I have mentioned it a number of times. I have made community posts where I talk about how disappointed I am about the performance of a certain video because of however much time and effort and money it took and all of that. And the more I've been thinking about that, the more I realize that I thought that I hadn't let whatever success I had at the peak or whatever go to my head. Maybe it did go to my head to some extent. It clearly changed how I think about these things. I mean, case in point, the recent video, the comparative test of a mace versus flail. I was very frustrated and disappointed by that because it only got less than 30,000 views, like 25-ish, whatever, something like that. And the ad revenue did not cover the costs involved. And even though I was aware of that and pointed out that, well, that's still a large number of people, the way I think about that still reeks of entitlement. I do feel like a bit of an entitled douchebag for every time I talked about these things. However often that was, honestly, even once is too many times. Because here's the thing. Whatever happens on YouTube or elsewhere, whatever success someone may get or not get or whatever, you're not entitled to it. It doesn't matter how much effort and time I put into a video. I can't expect certain numbers every time. Nobody owes me or any other YouTuber anything, right? Any content creator, it's a dirty word, but anyway. 30,000 views, 25,000, 20, 15, 10, 5. There are so many people who would be ecstatic about those numbers, right? And if the video doesn't make enough revenue to make up for my investment, then, well, it's my own fault for investing too much. I can't blame YouTube for that, or worse, viewers. When I've made frustrated observations in the past, like, oh, this and that video that took so and so much time and effort to make got half the views that a low-effort unboxing video did back in 2018 or whatever. It's like, yeah, so what? You can't just expect the same thing to keep happening over and over again. And effort is not directly correlated with success. You know, in a just world it would be, but it's really not. You can't expect it. There's so many people who put an enormous amount of effort into what they do for hardly any reward, right? So, yeah, this is entitlement. And before you type, you don't need to apologize for that, and no, you were totally right or whatever, please don't. The reason I'm saying that is I've seen all too many echo chambers. I don't want an echo chamber. In fact, if anything, I want you folks to call me out on something. Here is something that I want you to call me out on. If you will, a New Year's resolution of mine is to not complain about these things anymore. You know, to not talk about, oh, didn't they get enough views, or oh, the numbers, or what. No more of that. No more complaining about that. If I do, call me out on that, please. And I don't mean something like thanking patrons for their support because, they cover costs or whatever. Even then, it's better to just say, hey, I appreciate the support. It makes a big difference, period. There's no need to talk about inconsistent ad revenue or costs or whatever. None of that is your problem. None of that is your fault or anything, responsibility, anything like that. I decided to invest whatever I did, be it time, money, energy, etc. Nobody made me do that. And the other thing is, what's the point of complaining about that anyway? It's really just frustrated venting. There's no purpose. It's not going to change anything. I mean, the 98% of the 1.6 million subscribers that didn't see that video that I'm complaining about are most definitely not going to see the community post or the video in which I'm complaining about the low numbers. So it just comes off as douchey and entitled, and yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. I hate that I did it to begin with. Not sure why it even took so long to wake up to that and be like, oh, that's what I've been doing. Because not like whenever I heard other people do the same that I found it endearing or anything exactly. It's so easy to get stuck in your ways sometimes. And that's why I like to be introspective. On the last video, some people told me again, don't be so hard on yourself. And that's a mantra that I keep hearing, or reading rather. You're too hard on yourself. No, I'm not hard enough on myself. Because by not being hard on yourself, in my opinion, you risk becoming complacent and arrogant and stagnant. And that's it. Frankly, I just wanted to apologize for having done that, even though it may not be a big deal to a lot of you, but it kind of is to me personally. And you got to hold yourself accountable. It's natural to sometimes feel frustration and disappointment. I can't stop that, but I can at least make a deliberate effort to appreciate what I do have and look at the positive and, just be better. Just be less whiny and complainy. I will still talk about negatives, but I'll try to do it in a productive way. Like in the sense of, these are the problems, but this is what I'm doing about it, as opposed to just complaining. Like another little tangent, I think the main reason why I've been more aware of these things is actually the chronic illness, because as I'm deteriorating physically, I still want some kind of growth. So if I can't improve physically, then it has to be mentally, right? So, and if you for some reason can choose only one, I think working on your character is arguably more important. Physical fitness and health and all that is all fine and good. And you should always work on that, even when you're ill, or especially then. It's important to work on your health as much as you can, of course. But sometimes you can't get better, at least for a while. So in order to have some kind of growth, there's still other things you can work on. I gotta just be as productive as I can be. If that's enough, good. If it's not, then, well, that's all I can do. So, that's it. I got no need to vent about it or complain about it. It's just, it is what it is. And yeah, this is getting too long. That's really all I wanted to say. So yes, please do hold me accountable. Don't be an echo chamber. And how do you like my microphone holder, by the way? I just wanted some little extension, and why not use a knife? It's on character. In character, on brand, whatever. I'm not a brand. Thanks for listening.